What I want to talk about this morning is the pause that Biden did on the leasing of gas and oil leases on public land at the beginning of the year, why he did it, and what the price effect of that is on West Texas Intermediate grade. And in doing so, I'm using a framework that was invented by the guy who pretty much invented the economics of climate change in the United States, and that's William Nordhaus. Nordhaus was a macroeconomist from the 1960s. He was part of the group of economic advisors in the Carter presidency in the 1970s. He started writing seriously about climate change in the 1990s. He was president of the American Economics Association in 2014, 2015. First time I ever saw him present in person was in 2015. Had a great way of calming a room and bringing down disparate forces to a civil discussion. And he won the Nobel Prize for Economics in 2018 because of his work in climate change. It was Nordhaus that invented the carbon tax, and what he was doing was attempting to model a relationship between an increase in the prices of carbon and decreasing the price of increasing use of fossil fuel and production of CO2. But the problem was in the United States, even though there were a large number of attempts to introduce a carbon tax, none of them were politically successful. Because no politician wanted to put up prices for consumers. So when Biden came to office, what he decided to do, and there is a discussion about how this policy emerges, he decided instead of to move the price, he just moved the quantity, and he would reduce the quantity of oil and gas being produced in the United States by pausing, he said, but actually freezing the provision of oil and gas leases on public land. So the way we measure this is similar to the RBA, way the RBA measured announcement effect of quantitative easing in a piece they published a couple of months ago. We put in a dummy variable in the series for the event, and we measure what the effect of that event was on the price of West Texas Intermediate grade. And we start, as we usually do with our model of West Texas Intermediate grade, which is constructed in the enormously conventional way in the US of West Texas Intermediate grade. The price of West Texas Intermediate grade is determined by those stocks levels that you see announced every week by the EIA, so when you put those into a model of based on the last 10 years of data, what you find is the relationship between those stock levels and the West Texas Intermediate grade price is incredibly powerful. The T statistic is 24, which means that the chance of this being a random relationship is just vanishingly small. And in addition to that, what we do is we put in a dummy variable for politician, but for the policy action beginning in February this year, and we measure the impact of that statistically. And what we find is the model explains a bit over 80% of monthly variation in West Texas Intermediate grade, and the effect of the announcement of the pause in oil and gas leases on public land increases the West Texas Intermediate price by $13.12. So it adds $13 to the price. Now, this price seems to be increasing over time. As we go further into the future, there's less and less gas and oil available into the market. So over an extended period, this might wind up to be another higher number. But right now, the T statistic of the data is 3.8, which means the chances of this being a random thing is 2 chances in 10,000. So what in effect has happened is Biden has brought about a price effect in response to reducing the quantity of oil and gas available to the domestic market. What's that supposed to do if we go back to Nordhaus is that makes it more and more economic for other forms of energy to be produced, other forms of energy which are less carbon intensive. And in that circumstance, doing things like banning export of the oil price or reducing the strategic oil reserve would be it would be self-defeating in terms of the policy that the pause in oil and gas was attempting to produce. But this is a very good thing for the rest of the world, of course. The fact that the United States is attempting to force up the oil price, oil and gas price, and this is something that can be harvested as a benefit both by us, but certainly by the OPEC cartel.